net tonight at 8:30. W8VPV. Repeater. W8VPV. Repeater. W8VPV. Repeater. W8VPV. Repeater. Net.
Good evening, and welcome to the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club's Monday evening transmission of Amateur Radio Newsline. My name is Russ, and my call is KD8VYT. But for this presentation of Newsline, I will be using the club call Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. Without further ado, this is Amateur Radio Newsline.
Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2443 with a release date of Friday, August 23rd, 2024, to follow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The following is a QST. A Chinese rocket spews fragments of debris into space. A new repeater fills an MCOM's gap in Canada, and Newsline celebrates this year's Young Ham of the Year in Huntsville. All this and more as Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2443 comes your way right now.
From around the world, this is Newsline, Amateur Radio's independent, on-the-air news and bulletin service. Now, reporting from Union, Kentucky, here's Neil Rapp, W8VPV.
We begin this week's report with a rocket launch that has created a mess in space. The recent launch of China's Long March 6A rocket, which sent 18 broadband internet satellites into polar orbit, has added to the proliferation of space debris. A malfunction of the rocket's upper stage sent more than 700 fragments into a high orbit of 800 kilometers. According to a report by the AMSAT news service, their orbital decay will take at least 25 years. The satellites themselves are part of the new constellation by Shanghai Spacecom Satellite Technology. Known as Thousand Sails, the constellation is expected to expand to include as many as 14,000 satellites. It is considered a direct competitor to Starlink, Project Kuiper, and OneWeb. Friendships are high on the list of things that many of us value in amateur radio, and a recent get-together in Europe for one group of YLs marks a chance to renew that sisterhood. And to get on the air, of course, Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, has that story.
5 summers after they had first successfully celebrated their friendship and shared love of amateur radio, an international group of 22 YLs returned to the contest station in Moravia in the Czech Republic, where it had all begun. Eva, HB9FPM, believed it was time for an even bigger event at the top-class contest station OK5Z, where YLs from 11 nations gathered between the 4th and the 10th of August. Using the call sign OL88YL, they chased DX from the massive antenna farm and taking the time to learn how to build their own dipoles under the guidance of Marcus, HB9HVG, and Andreas, HB9JOE. The 20 and 15 meter antennas were then tested over the next 2 days at 3 SOTA summits that were also part of the Worldwide Fauna and Flora Award scheme. There were moments of celebration too when Hans, PB2T, of the Yasmi Foundation presented their Excellence Awards to Raisa, R1BIG, for her promotion of amateur radio on her YouTube channel. When not on the air, the YLs toured places rich in the region's cultural history. For those traveling from Poland, Japan, Luxembourg, Turkey, and the UK, the Russian Federation, and elsewhere, the long 5-year wait to be together again ended happily. This is Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
For a short look at how the YLs spent their time, follow the link in the text version of this week's newscast at arnewsline.org. 2 AMSAT organizations are planning major gatherings in October, spaced just 2 weeks apart. Kevin Trotman, N5PRE, tells us about them both.
Satellite enthusiasts have a busy 2 weekends in October, starting with the AMSAT UK Space Colloquium and annual general meeting being held on the 12th and 13th of October. At the same time, the Radio Society of Great Britain holds its convention. Organizers have said they will release details about the topics being covered closer to the event. Meanwhile, registration has opened for the 42nd Annual AMSAT Space Symposium, an annual general meeting which is taking place in Tampa, Florida on the 25th and 26th of October. The weekend will also include an AMSAT Ambassador Breakfast on the morning of October 27th. Organizers are looking for presenters on a variety of topics for the symposium and are asking for anyone interested to immediately submit a working title for their talk. Final copies of the presentations are due no later than the 18th of October, so they can be included in the proceedings. Send all submissions to Dan Schultz, N8FGV, at n8fgv@usa.net. The symposium will be held on Saturday the 26th, same day as the annual general meeting. This is Kevin Trotman, N5PRE.
The Voice of America has plans to cease operations in the Northern Mariana Islands. We have more on that story from Ralph Squillace, KK6 ITB.
Citing a shrinking listener audience, high costs of operation, and lingering damages inflicted by a Category 5 super typhoon in October of 2018, the Voice of America has decided to discontinue transmissions from its shortwave station in the Northern Mariana Islands. The Saipan and Tinian sites being silenced are part of the Robert E. Camosa transmitting station. The United States Agency for Global Media has made use of the station for multi-language programs from Voice of America and Radio Free Asia. William Martin, director of the U.S. Agency for Global Media's Transmitting Stations and Operations Division, said in a public statement, quote, "After decades of operation, these facilities are being phased out as shortwave audiences migrate to other media. Although these closures mark the end of an era, they are also bittersweet, as in closing these stations we also say farewell to the people and communities that supported our mission for so many years." End quote. Martin himself had been the station manager from 2013 to 2019. The Saipan site started broadcasting in 1982, Tinian in 1999. This is Ralph Squillace, KK6ITB.
A longtime member of the development team for the N1MM logger has become a silent key. We hear about him from Dave Parks, WB8ODF.
Lawrence William Gautier Jr., K8UT, was a DXer, a software expert both professionally and in ham radio, and an involved, community-minded Michigan resident. An accomplished and award-winning DXer, he was also deeply committed outside of radio to such activities as scouting and assisting community nonprofits with their websites. Larry became a silent key on the 13th of August. First licensed as a ham since 1968 with the call sign WB8BGO, Larry strove to harness the software expertise of his professional career to assist his fellow ham radio operators. He became part of the team that developed the popular N1MM logger, most recently offered his support by helping keep the documentation up to date and maintaining the website. He belonged to the Southeast Michigan DX Association and the South Lyon Amateur Radio Club. Larry was 73. This is Dave Parks, WB8ODF.
Amateurs in New Zealand and DXers around the globe are mourning the loss of a noted DXer and friend. We hear about him from Jim Meechan, ZL2BHF.
Like most other accomplished DXers, Ron Falconer, ZL4RMF, was well known for a signal that circled the globe. He was also known for an equally strong devotion to the contacts he made. Friends say Ron was never one to chase awards. What he valued were the many QSOs and the bonds that grew out of them. Ron, who had ongoing health issues with pulmonary fibrosis attributed to a lifetime of farming, became a silent key on the 3rd of August, according to his nephew, Murray Falconer. His friend and fellow team member for the NZART Jock White Field Day, John Graham, ZL4RO, recalled Ron as, quote, a DXer, contester, netmaster, and rag-chewing expert, end quote. Friends recalled that Ron became known for his carefully set-up shack in the pursuit of the joy of DX. John wrote, quote, his call sign often appeared on the QRZ DX list. No mean feat to achieve. Many hams visiting New Zealand made a point of coming to visit Ron at his QTH. They were made very welcome and a shack tour was mandatory, end quote. Alan Hayes, ZL4MD, said that Ron had more than 10,000 confirmed contacts across 161 countries. His friends worldwide were the awards he earned, and he always took time to nurture a love for radio in younger operators. Martin Belch, ZL4JH, Secretary of NZRT's Otago branch, said Ron might even take a visit to the UHF-VHF bands if communications help was needed locally, such as at a car rally. His nephew Murray said that in the end, Ron was cared for at home by his nieces and nephews as his health worsened. Murray said this enabled him to, quote, continue his radio passion right up to and including the day he passed, end quote. Ron died just short of his 72nd birthday. This is Jim Meachin, ZL2BHF.
Time for you to identify your station. We are the Amateur Radio Newsline, heard on bulletin stations around the world, including the K6 PVR repeater in Ventura, California on Sundays at 6:30 p.m. local time. Newsline met up with Grace Pape, K8LG in Huntsville recently. Listen as Don Wilbanks, AE5DW, tells us how we celebrated this year's Young Ham of the Year.
On Saturday, August 17th, it was my honor to present the 2024 Bill Pasternak WA6ITF Amateur Radio Newsline Young Ham of the Year Award to 18-year-old Grace Pape, K8LG, at the Huntsville Ham Fest.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody. I really want to give a shout out to the Westchester Amateur Radio Association who nominated me for this award. I didn't realize that they nominated me. I'm really a part of that club as well as many others. The Holland Amateur Radio Club I'm very a part of, and they support me and everything. And as Don said, I'll be attending Cedarville University studying electrical engineering, and amateur radio really has impacted my choice and career. That's about it.
Grace exemplifies the spirit of the award, recognizing youth who are using amateur radio to further the state of the hobby and make the world a better place. Newsline's founder, Bill Pasternak, would be very proud of Grace, as we all are. Many thanks go out to our corporate underwriters who make it possible for us to continue Bill's vision. Yazoo USA, Heil Ham Radio, and Radio Waves Antennas. Also, our thanks to the Huntsville Hamfest Committee and volunteers for giving the award a home since 1993. If you know of a young radio amateur who you feel is deserving, we encourage you to nominate them for the 2025 award. The nominations will open up on March 1st of next year, and we hope to see you at the presentation next year on August 16th in Huntsville, Alabama. Congratulations, Grace, and welcome to the Newsline Young Ham of the Year family. We couldn't be more proud. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW.
With International Lighthouse and Lightship Weekend concluded for 2024, organizer Kevin Mulcahy, VK2CE, reports that operators are already making plans for next year and have registered 30 lighthouses so far. He said that entities from the U.S., Germany, Aruba, Trinidad, and Tobago were on this year's list, as were 4 entities from Israel near the West Bank of the Gaza Strip. Kevin said that he was pleased to have had 400 entries this year, given the conflicts and unrest around the world. He told Newsline, quote, another big plus for ham radio and lighthouses, end quote. An amateur radio club has helped fill a gap in an emergency communications network in British Columbia with a much-needed repeater. We have that story from Andy Morrison, K9AWM. A missing piece in emergency communication for the valley and backcountry surrounding Canada's Wells Grey Provincial Park has finally been put into place. A new repeater station is up and running after hours of work by members of the Wells Grey Amateur Radio Club in Clearwater. It has become a vital part of a network that already serves such communities as Upper Clearwater, Mahood Lake, and Clearwater Lake in the event of rescues, missing persons reports, or natural disasters. The park itself is in a wild natural area of the Thompson-Nicola region of interior British Columbia. The hams provide communication support to first responders, such as those in the Upper Clearwater Volunteer Fire Brigade. The communication network also serves the Blackpool Fire Rescue and other fire departments around the valley. The club treasurer, Cliff Olson, BE7EIN, told the Clearwater Times website that having a more robust system allows for better network planning. This is Andy Morrison, K9AWM. Competitors in the award scheme known as HEMA are getting ready for a big weekend event at the end of this month. Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, tells us what's involved.
Adventure radio enthusiasts have been waiting for the 31st of August and the 1st of September, the weekend that marks the official launch of the HEMA Awards program in New Zealand. Hams there are making a special effort on this debut weekend to fill their logs and are hoping for some trans-Tasman H-to-H contact with Australian radio amateurs. Operators around the world wanting to earn HEMA awards should go to the HEMA website at hema.org.uk. The website contains a full explanation of how HEMA works. New Zealand hams will be able also to upload their logs to ontheair.nz, that's on the air one word, .nz, so they can compare their progress towards awards against other ZL hams. This is Jeremy Bucci for NJH.
In the world of DX, the special call sign 4A2MAX is on the air through the 31st of August in CW sideband and the digital modes on various bands. The activation is in remembrance of St. Maximilian Maria Kolbe, SP3RN, the Franciscan friar, killed at Auschwitz by the Nazis on the 14th of August in 1941 after he volunteered to take the place of a condemned Polish army sergeant. Father Kolbe was a shortwave operator and is considered to be the patron saint of amateur radio. For QSL details, visit QRZ.com. Listen for Uli, DO4UB, who is on the air from Arusha, Tanzania, using the call sign 5H2MUA on 15 and 10 meters sideband. QSL via DO2HQS. You can find Adam M6NXW on the air as 9G5AS from Bremen, Ghana from the 26th of August to the 5th of September. Adam will be operating QRP on 20 through 10 meters using sideband FT8 and FT4. See QRZ.com for QSL details. Alex, SQ9UM, is operating holiday style as D4UM from Sal Island, IOTA number AF086, Cape Verde, until the 26th of August. Alex, using CW sideband FT8 and FT4, can be found on 80 through 6 meters, QSL via his home call. Our final story is about a broadcast engineer with a lifelong love of both the professional and the amateur side of things. He recently retired and was honored for his lifetime of good work. We hear more about him from Kent Peterson, KC0DGY.
Carl Sampieri, N4NRE, is credited with having built most of the broadcast stations in the Tennessee Valley. It was all part of a lifelong vocation from which he recently retired. The Alabama radio amateur has a long and distinguished career as a broadcast engineer. This month, it earned him the distinction of being Engineer of the Year, an honor conferred by the Alabama Broadcasters Association. Carl's lifelong commitment to radio began when he was 18 and got his first-class radio telephone license. Then, entering the U.S. Air Force, he became an airborne radio repairman. Commercial radio set the stage for the rest of his life starting in 1967 at stations WRSA and WSLV. As a military veteran, he moved back to Huntsville, Alabama to a TV engineering job. He later worked as chief engineer for a public radio station for almost 2 decades. When he retired recently, Carl had been serving as a longtime engineer at the cluster of iHeart radio stations in Huntsville for more than a quarter of a century. According to his biography on the Alabama Broadcasters Association website, Carl is now concentrating on doing some renovations to his century-old house and getting some work done on a pair of amateur radio towers behind the house. At long last, he has the time to put the home back into homebrew. This is Kent Peterson, KC0DGY.
If a good day of radio is like poetry to you, pick up a pencil and join the Amateur Radio Newsline Haiku Challenge. Share your experience by sending an original haiku to us here at Newsline. Use the entry form on our website, arnewsline.org, and please follow the rules for writing your 3-line haiku. Sorry, but we cannot accept any entries that aren't written in traditional haiku form. Share with fellow listeners the poetry that is inspired by your ham radio experience. With thanks to the Alabama Broadcasters Association, Ambarish Nagbiswas, VU2JFA, AMSAT News Service, Amateur Radio Daily, the ARRL, Clearwater Times, CQ Magazine, David Behar, K7DB, the Deccan Herald, 425DX News, HEMA.org.uk, Matt ZL4NVW, Murray Falconer, NASA, QRZ.com, Radio World, shortwaveradio.de, Times of India, the Wireless Institute of Australia, and your listeners. That's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline. We remind our listeners that Amateur Radio Newsline is an all-volunteer nonprofit organization that incurs expenses for its continued operation. If you wish to support us, please visit our website at arnewsline.org and know that we appreciate you all. We also remind our listeners that if you like our newscast, please leave us a 5-star rating wherever you subscribe to us. For now, with Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team worldwide, I'm Neil Rapp, W8VPV in Union, Kentucky, saying 7-3. And as always, we thank you for listening. Amateur Radio Newsline is copyright 2024. All rights reserved.
This concludes our Monday evening transmission of Amateur Radio Newsline. Net to start in about 9 minutes.
W8VPV. Repeater.
welcome to the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club, Monday night VHF UHF net. My name is Frank. My call is W8ECT, but for the purposes of this net, I'll be using the club call, Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. This is an open, directed net. All amateur radio operators are invited and encouraged to check in. You do not need to be a club member. All traffic will go through net control, and since emergency traffic may break in at any time, please leave a brief pause between transmissions. Last time I was net control, I got reports that there was a lot of static on my signal, so if somebody wants to break in here at the next pause and let me know if I'm coming through okay or not, please do so. I've got a bad antenna, and there's a hornet nest right around it, so until I wipe those out, I'm not going after going to be able to fix the antenna. The purpose of this net is to bring together all amateur radio operators for the exchanging of amateur-related ideas and information, to enhance net operating practices, and to keep our members up to date about club happenings. This net meets here every Monday evening at 8:30 p.m. local time, preceded by Amateur Radio Newsline at 8:01. We will start with some announcements, then ask for check-ins from officers or members who have announcements of general interest to the club. Once that's complete, we'll take check-ins, call signs only, 5 at a time, confirming the call before we move on to the next. Then I'll go back, work the 5 check-ins, take 5 more, and repeat until things slow down. Then we'll take you one at a time. If you're a regular participant, I'll probably recognize you by call sign. If not, please give your call, repeated phonetically, followed by your name and location. When all check-ins have been worked, I'll repeat the announcements and then close the net. We also operate an HF +6 band exploration net starting at 9:30 p.m. after this net. The net changes bands and frequencies depending on which Monday of the month it is. For tonight, we will be on 80 meters at approximately 3.827 megahertz, starting about 9:30. Exact frequency will depend on band activity in QRM, so I'll start listening about 8:20 or 9:20 and announce the exact frequency on this repeater at 9:30. Please join us if you've got privileges or equipment. Got some announcements here. August 31st is the deadline for newsletter articles. That's a hard deadline. Our editor is going out of town after publishing, so he's got to have them in his hands by August 31st. And I am working on 2, and I will get them to you hopefully tonight or tomorrow at the latest. Big news coming up. This is regarding our clubhouse, as I think most of our club members know. And this invitation is open to club members at this point. Tuesday, September 3rd at 6 p.m., that is the Tuesday after Monday Labor Day, we'll be having a meet and greet at the clubhouse, open to all CFARC and Train Club members. This will be a chance to meet perhaps some Train Club members you haven't met, maybe even some CFARC members you haven't met. Look over what they're talking about, planning, doing down in the basement. Look over the main floor. Look up at the W8VPV shack and workstation. And of course, we're always open to your ideas and thoughts on what you'd like to see done with the club, so please let us know. Coming up Wednesday 11th, it is CFARC to the field, and there'll be a lot more information coming out on this. And we're going to kind of rename it now called EOTA, as in Everyone on the Air. This is going to be a mini parks activation event. It looks like it's going to involve several ham radio clubs in the area, not just us. We're looking at maybe PCARS and Sarah and maybe some of the clubs further south. We're still getting the word out, but Wednesday, September 11th, I believe it starts at 4 and goes to 7:30. We'll be operating on various bands, and there'll be information out with select frequencies, but we will have 10-meter sideband operations, 6-meter FM and sideband, 2-meter FM, and 70-centimeter FM. So chance to make some contacts with hams, maybe even from other clubs in other parks there. If you can't make it out to a park, fire up your home base rig and start listening, see if you can make contacts there. Everybody who sends in 5 or more log entries will be entered into a $50 random drawing for a $50 DXE gift certificate. You can get more information on tiny.cc/EOTA EOTA2024. That's lowercase EOTA2024. All right, 2 antenna-related programs coming up. Wednesday, October 9th. I'll be going back to the church for our meetings. We'll have a meeting put on by Mel Vi, retired professor from the University of Akron, W8VPV, and his presentation will be why bad antennas work. It'll be focusing on why that perfect SWR isn't really that important, and following up, answering a lot of the questions that a friend of mine, he helped put an antenna up, was making great contacts, and then he started measuring the antenna and was not at all impressed with the SWR, and he was asking Mel, why does it still work so well? And then following that, Wednesday, November 6th, we'll have a follow-up presentation. I'll be doing a presentation on proper feeding of antennas. We'll be looking at all aspects of SWR, not just resistance, but also reactance and the combined term impedance. We'll be looking at a very interesting set of charts about how a fixed-length antenna behaves on different frequencies. And as we wind it up, we'll introduce you to the Nano VNA, a very, very interesting and powerful tool that is now available at a very reasonable price. I think it should be part of every ham's test equipment set, probably right after an antenna analyzer. Okay, that's the only announcements I have for tonight. Do we have any other officers or club members with announcements of general interest? Go ahead now. Okay, quiet there. Let me flip the page, and we'll start taking check-ins 5 at a time. Go ahead.
Alpha Charlie 8 X-Ray Oscar.
All right, top of the list is Vince AC8XO. Next.
W3X Whiskey Oscar 3 X-Ray.
Got you in there at 2, John. Next.
W3X.
Got you, John. Number 2. Next check-in.
KE8TQR, Keith in Uniontown.
Got you in there, Keith. We'll get right back to you. Next.
November 8th, Bravo Alpha Yankee, NHBAY, Ralph and Stowe, in and out.
Okay, got you in and out. Appreciate you stopping by here. Looking for 2 more check-ins. Looks like this might be a slow night, so maybe I'll take them one by one, but we'll see if we can pick up 2 here.
KE8ULA, Leo in Stowe.
KE8ULA, Leo. We'll get back to you then. Next.
Kilo Echo 8, Zulu Papa X-Ray, Jesse, New Franklin, in and out.
All right, I got New Franklin in and out. What's your name again, sir?
Kilo Echo 8, Zulu Papa X-Ray, Jesse.
Jesse, I didn't recognize the call. I'm sorry. Very good. All right. And by the way, while I've got some people listening, we have just created a discussion list for all things related to the clubhouse. There'll be some email going out on it. I'm going to enroll some people that have already been of great help in moving equipment and know where the clubhouse is. If you do not want to be on there, please let me know, and I'll certainly take your name off. If you know somebody else who might want to be on, alert them to it, and you'll see that coming out in the next day or so, email-wise. Had some other issues keeping me busy, and I haven't been able to put all my effort on there. All right, I got 5 people in the pile-up. Let's go back to the top. Vince, go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Frank, and everybody else that's on that. Don't have a whole heck of a lot. I appreciate you announcing that the hard deadline on August 31st. It gives me a couple of days to get it typed up and proofread and back to Anthony for publication. Other than that, that's all. Hope everybody has a good night.
Very good, Vince, and thank you very much for everything you do. I will be sending you an article with lots of pictures from the picnic, and I don't have captions for all the pictures, so I'm going to publish them captionless and I'll get another one on our Clubhouse event coming up, so those should be out of here in the next day or so. Thanks again for what you do. Next up, John, WO3X.
Good evening, Frank, and all on the net. This is WO3X. Well, I participated in the Ohio QSO party on Saturday and made, I think, 47 contacts. I didn't get the 88. Maybe I made 63 contacts, but of course nowhere near the 88 counties. So that was a lot of fun there. And what was that last item that you mentioned? Something that something every ham should have. Over.
As far as test equipment, I was recommending a Nano VNA. I've been playing with one for a while. I've got a larger one, and as far as if you like to play with antennas, the Nano VNA is a very, very useful tool, and we'll be talking about that more, I think, later on in some of the meetings.
Okay, thanks. So that's all that I have for the net. W8VPV, this is WO3X, back to the net.
Right, very good, John. Next up, Keith, KE8TQR. How you doing?
W8VPV, this is KE8TQR. Good evening, Frank. Thanks for taking my check-in tonight. Good evening to everyone else here on the net. I'm doing real good, Frank, and those bees on your antenna, they must be some hardy souls. I have to say that. You get a little bit of static, but it's not bad. As far as my project goes, a couple friends come over here last Saturday, and we now have the tower section that I had up. It's now in the horizontal position instead of the vertical. I've taken the antenna off. The mast pole is not on there anymore, and the one section that needed to be painted is now in the garage. And if the temperatures actually come back down here one of these days, I'll get that painted and start putting the tower together, getting all the antennas on there, all the coax, and all the rest of the equipment that goes along with it. And then it's getting it up to the vertical position, which it should be a lot of fun. So I don't have any HF capabilities. I will not be on here later tonight because the wire antenna was on the tower, and the tower's down, so the antenna is as well. But hopefully I will have it all back up soon, and I will be back on the air doing HF and all the nets that I like to get on and making some contacts around this here planet we like to call home. But anyway, Frank, fine job tonight, and hope to hear everyone later. Hope everyone has a great evening. With that, I'll turn it back over to Net Control. This is KE8TQR saying 73, and God bless.
Very good, Keith. Enjoy the antenna work, but above all else, stay safe. Make sure you're wearing safety gear and nobody's anywhere near where something can get dropped on them when you bring it up to vertical again. Hope you're taking some pictures of it. It'd be a great article for the newsletter coming up. I think Bill had one in there a month ago or so about the station he was putting together, and I think this is great education for other hams that are planning the same thing and are not quite sure what to do. So, very good. All right, let's see here. Next up was, well, Ralph was in and out. Appreciate that, Ralph. So next up, Leo, KE8ULA.
W8VPV, KE8ULA. Hello, Frank, and good evening, everyone on the net out here in the backyard tonight on the HT. Well, the wife and I, we just got back we spent the last couple of weeks out in Michigan, Upper Peninsula, and Wisconsin, up on Lake Superior. We were camped out on Big Bay State Park. It's on Madeline Island. It's one of the Apostle Islands up there on Lake Superior. Really nice place. Two things I like about that island. One, there's not a whole lot to do up there. So we just rode some bicycles, did a little bit of hiking, swimming in the bay, and then we go into town every night, get some dinner at one of those nice restaurants they have at the port. And they had a great place, pizza place called Grandpa Tony's that had the best ice cream in the world. So we're just back now from that, so I'm just getting back into the swing of things. getting used to life in the big city here. Again, KE8ULA, back to the net.
Very good, Leo. I was talking to somebody in the club recently. They'd also spent some time in the UP and mentioned that because cell service was very often unpredictable and infrequent, that 2-meter activity on repeaters was just incredible up there. So don't know if you had an HT along or not, but were you there, you might have heard a lot of traffic on their local repeaters. Anyway, welcome back, and well, have a good rest of the summer down here. Next up, KE8ZPX. Jesse, go ahead.
Sorry about that, Frank. I didn't have any news for the net tonight. Kilo Echo 8. Zulu Pop X-ray, back to net.
Not a problem at all. Appreciate you stopping by anyway. Have yourself a great evening, and all right, let's see here. I'm at the bottom of the page, so looking for 5 more check-ins. Go ahead now.
Kilo Bravo 8, Victoria, Germany X-ray. Steve in Williamsfield, Ohio.
I got you in there, Steve. Williamsfield. My gosh, I'm not sure where that is.
Southeastern Ashtabula County.
Okay. That's a bit of a signal drive. Good signal into the repeater. We'll get right back to you here. Next check-in.
KA8WTK.
And Bill, KA8WTK. Got you in there. Next check-in.
Kilo Echo 8, Uniform Lima Charlie, Kurt, Cuyahoga Falls.
I got you, Kurt. Next.
Kilo Extra. Kilo.
No problem. Come on back in whenever you get a chance. I thought I heard Kilo Foxtrot 8, so one of the newer hams. But yeah, when you get a chance, come on back in. We'd love to hear from you. Another check-in?
A little bit of mic freight there. Kilo Foxtrot 8, Alpha Victor Delta, Tony, down the Marin Valley.
Very good, Tony. Yeah, I thought I heard your voice, but it was just too short there. All right, I'll get right back to you then. We have another check-in. All right, looks like it's going to be a slow night, so we're going to probably work them one by one after this. Let me get to the top and start working that. Steve, coming in from Williamsfield, KB8VGX. How you doing this evening? And welcome to the Cuyahoga Falls Net.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for having me this evening. I've had this memory, or this frequency in the memory of the radio since I lived out in Strongsville and North Royalton in the Cleveland area. And moved out here about a decade ago, and a few months ago I finally got the antenna installation to a point where I could hear the Cleveland-Akron repeater area, or repeaters again. And it made me pretty happy, and I've been doing a lot of listening on and off to this repeater throughout the days and nights. I figured I'd actually check in and say good evening to you all. And your repeater's doing very well out here on the PA border. I hear you guys about 20, 25 dB over 9, so you're coming in just fine. I don't really have a lot for the net, just kind of sitting here listening on, enjoying a burger, and enjoying the net. So at that, I'll say 7-3 because my phone is also ringing. This is KB8VGX. Thanks again.
All right, very good, Steve. Get that phone call. Sounds like a great evening for you there, especially the burger part. I'm going to go in and get some leftovers between nets. KA8WTK. Bill, good evening, Bill. How you doing?
W8VPV, KA8WTK. We're doing pretty good. Been doing a lot of, started a few weeks ago, just cleaning up a lot of stuff. Decommissioning coax runs, taking out some of the old 75-ohm cable TV hardline runs that were getting so badly corroded, and the aluminum was getting so thin on the jacket that it would flake off. They've been out there for 30 years. It was time for them to go.
nighttime. And doing a lot of cleanup here on the ground. Got out to one of my telescopes today and looked at the rotor, which is broken free at the top of the tower, and looking to see, okay, what's left, what broke, what are we going to do when we get up there. I'm trying to line up as many of the ducks in a row as I can before I get there, go up the tower. So we're getting pretty good at focusing in on individual nuts and bolts up there with the telescopes. I do have a need or a want. If anybody has an old CDE AR40 rotator control box, I home built the control box that's on this AR40 right now, but I'd like to see if somebody if I can get a hold of one of the commercial ones. That's about it, Frank. Back to net. K8WTK.
All right, very good, Bill. I'll look around my stuff, see if I can find one. I don't, off the top of my head, think I have an unmatched setup, but I'll certainly look for it, and I'll keep my eyes out at upcoming Hamfests. Good luck and be safe up there. I do have climbing gear, ropes, and a gin pole and setup. If you need something like that, please let me know, and I'll be glad to help. And one of these days, I'd like to talk to you about putting in a proper ground for the clubhouse for antennas, but we can catch that sometime later down the road. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate you checking me in, and we'll catch you down the page. Next up, KE8ULC. Kurt, go ahead.
Hello, this is KE8ULC Kurt in Cuyahoga Falls. I was not able to check in last week's net. I want to thank everybody that made the picnic so successful. This was my first day of last year in service at the University of Akron teaching mathematics, so I'm looking forward to finishing this last year. I'm also so happy that we'll be looking at this nano VNA. I've looked at some of them for myself, and I'm looking for the opportunity to learn more.
Well, very good, very good. This the nano VNA and specifically the Smith chart that it presented to me suddenly, as I played with resistors and changed frequencies, opened my eyes to how antennas behaved with changes in frequency for given reactances and resistances, and I think it's a great test tool. So very good. Matter of fact, maybe we can get together and do an advanced nano VNA presentation later on together. All right. Thank you very much, Kurt. Appreciate the check-in. And then Tony, KF8 Alpha Victor Delta. Go ahead.
Hey there. So I ended up joining the ARRL just before they ended up having the data breach, and part of my thing was I got a copy of the Portable Operator for Amateur Radio book. Taking a break. And they ended up sending me two. So I would like to offer it up to the next technician that's elevated to general, and I will give it to you free of charge.
All right, very good. This is the ARRL operating guide, is it, I think?
It's the Portable Operating for Amateur Radio book.
Okay, Portable Operating for Amateur Radio. Tony's got it out there to the first person who, I guess, checks into the radio and contacts him and asks about it. His call is KF8 Alpha Victor Delta. If you've already checked into that, that's fine. You can do it then. And I think your requirement, Tony, was somebody that just recently advanced from tech to general. And do you have a time frame on that?
No time frame. You can find my contact info on QRZ.com. And also, last 2 weeks ago, I asked about starting up a random net, and someone gave me their call sign, email address, and I have totally lost it.
anybody out there monitoring tonight. Tony was asking about starting on net. Not just our check-in net here, but a net on another evening, and I would certainly go out of my way to participate in it if it's anything I have any interest in. If you reached out to him and gave him some contact information, please do so again. The original got misplaced. And Tony, if there's anything I can do to help, I will certainly do so, and I'll reach out to our, I'm no longer the radio officer, I'll reach out to our radio officer and make sure you're authorized to run the net under the club call sign if you wish to do so, and I think it benefits everybody out there, so thank you very much.
Appreciate all that, and just turning it back to net.
Very good. All right, I'm at the bottom of my list. Let's see if there are any more people out there wanting to check in. This is W8VPV, the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club Monday night VHF UHF net. Now looking for check-ins.
WD8MJS, in and out.
WD8MJS, I recognize that voice. And by the way, I mentioned to Steve, I don't know if he's been in touch with you yet, when you guys get ready to move your equipment from the Northampton equipment from the current location to, and I'm not sure where you're taking it, I would be happy to help by letting you use my trailer, driving it back and forth, and so on like that. So reach out to me when you get ready to do that, and we'll figure something out there.
Okay, Frank, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
All righty, we're taking check-ins one at a time now. It's pretty light. Who else would like to check in? All right, looks like it's going to be a real light net tonight, so let me run through the announcements once more. August 31st is the hard deadline for the newsletter articles this month. If you've got anything you'd like to send him, stories about antennas, stories about operating, park activations, whatever, got to get it in by the 31st, absolute. Tuesday, September 3rd, 6 p.m. is the meet and greet at the clubhouse. We encourage all all CFARC members and Train Club members to show up there at 6 p.m. We'll be talking about what we're doing. Steve has some important announcements from the city. I think it'll be very interesting and some very good news, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we're doing there. Wednesday, September 11th, CFARC to the Field is also going to be known as EOTA, Everyone on the Air. It's going to be a mini parks activation contest involving several clubs throughout Northeast Ohio. There'll be more information on our website in the next day or two. We'll have 10-meter operation on sideband, FM and sideband on 6, and FM on 2 and 70 centimeters. There will be a random drawing for a $50 DX gift certificate for all entries with 5 or more contacts. You can get more information at tiny.cc/EOTA2024. Break for time. Wednesday, October 9th, we'll be back in the church for our regular club meeting. It'll be a Zoom meeting. Mel Vi, W8MV, will be doing a presentation on why bad antennas work. The following month, second Wednesday, will be November 6th. I'll do one on the proper feeding of antennas, more about resistance and impedance and inductance and all those good things. And finally, we'll end up introducing you to the Nano VNA, very useful tool and one I recommend everybody have on there. And a reminder, at 9:30 tonight, we'll be doing a band exploration net tonight on 80 meters, somewhere around 3.827 megahertz. I got to get up there and start listening around to see what QRM is there and where we can find an open spot. All right, I'm down here at the bottom of my list looking for any more check-ins, and if not, we'll just wrap this meeting up. This net up, I should say. This is W8ECT. Go ahead.
KD8LQS, Kilo Delta 8, Lima, Quebec, Sierra, Paul out of Hinckley. No traffic.
All right, very good, Paul. Appreciate that. I've got a sister and brother-in-law that live in Hinckley on Kellogg, so that's quite a distance. You got a real good signal into the repeater. Don't be a stranger. Somebody's running this net every Monday evening at 8:30. We'd love to hear you in there as somewhat of a regular. Do we have any more check-ins? W8VPV.
KS8 AZ Delta, Portage Lakes, Ohio. Jeff.
All right, Jeff. Excellent modulation. Audio is almost too strong. Could you give me the call sign again, please?
KS8 AZ Delta.
Alpha Z Delta. Very good, Jeff. Appreciate it. And yeah, I've got a sister down in Portage Lakes, lives Drive. Beautiful area down there. Good to hear you. Anything for the net tonight?
Oh, this is my first time on this net. We just moved in a couple weeks ago. This is my first time being able to get my antenna up and my radio set up all good to go in my new garage. And this is the first time I've transmitted over the antenna setup I have, so it's good to hear that everything is clear. This is KS8 AZ Delta.
Very good, Jeff. Yeah, good quieting into the repeater, just the slightest amount of hiss. But yeah, you're fully readable and very good audio. So welcome to the net. As I told Paul, don't be a stranger. We do this every Monday starting about 8:30. Love to hear you in there, and feel free to sit in any club meetings. My sister's a ham down there. I just need to I'm trying to talk her into putting an antenna up. It's like pulling teeth. Very good. We're at the bottom of the list. Do we have any more check-ins for W8VPV? All right, we'll wrap this up then. I read the announcements once more, so we'll just close this down, and thank you for checking in. This is, let me find the end here. In preparing to close this net, I'd like to thank all of you that took the time to join us and check in tonight. And I will stop and make one more announcement. For those of you who are club members, you know we have a new clubhouse. We're just getting it underway. Things like security and everything's being discussed. We have the get-together coming in here Tuesday, the 3rd of September, I believe. Yes, 3rd of September. We'd love to see you out there. We're also putting together a mailing list. I will send email out on it in the next day or two. I will add some of your names to it. If you want to be on there, just start posting, and if you don't, let me know and I'll pull you off. But we appreciate any and all help that we can. All right, in preparing to close this net, I'd like to thank all of you who took the time to join us and check in tonight. Let me give this repeater a timeout. Without your participation, there would be no net. This has been Frank, W8EZT, and it's been my pleasure to host this evening's net. I will now close the net with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 check-ins, myself included. This is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor closing the net at 9:03 p.m., 73, and we'll hope to hear many of you on the 80-meter net at 9:30. W8EZT, I'll be clear.
W8EZT, this is W03X.
Go ahead, John.
I sold your shop manual.
Oh, very good, very good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's a bit of history that I won't need anymore. Watch my luck. Someday I'll end up with a 60 Buick and I'll be kicking myself. But very good. As I said, I'll be happy to split whatever you got for it with you.
We don't have to split it. I didn't get a whole lot for it, so I had it with me at the Buick National Meet in Strongsville on July 13th, and there was only one 60 Buick there. That guy said he already has one of those manuals. It's all torn up and stuff, but he never uses it, so he wasn't interested. So I asked the guy at the Riverfront Cruise Inn again, and so he was interested, and whereas last time he wasn't, and so he bought it this evening.
Oh, very good, John. I owe you a thank you there. Well, last time I was looking through that, I realized that I had my fingerprints all over it in grease. I was working out of that manual many times back in the late 60s trying to keep that car on the road. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Hope to catch you tonight on 80 meters.
Very good. I'll be on there. So with that, I'll say 73 to you, Frank, and I'll be checking in on the 80 meter net. This is W3X. I'll be clear for now.
W8ECT clear.
W8VPV. Repeater PL110.9.
day where it's so hot. I turned it on down at about 65. And I don't think it kicked off since I've done that. I'll bring it back up here a little bit once the temperature drops a little more.
You had the living room air conditioner on 62 a while ago, so I'd say that you can hang icicles in there.
And according to my old phone, I finally got it, opened it up and looked at it here. It was saying Olympia.
Fredo, can I watch what you know you're going to need later?
I know.
Or he said that to Grady.
Down there, did you get to eat any of them?
Yeah, they pretty hot, some of them, but they're good.
And you got some that you raised harder than those?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my.
15,000 Scoville units hot, what them banana peppers of mine are.
Oh, man. I don't want none.
I've been having her fry them, and it's all I can do to eat them breaded and fried.
Oh, man.
I got some jalapenos out there that they ain't as hot as them.
That's saying something there.
Yes, sir. So I like my peppers, and I eat them about every day all summer long, as long as they're in, and I got some, but now them just before it gets so hot I can't eat them.
The last couple of days, I don't know what's the weather slept or what I've done. My old neck been stiff on one side, hurt, you know.
What happens with my next annual when the doctor gives me the list of whatever she wants me to remember, and see if I get any of them this time. Did okay last time, much better the time before, and if heart medicines have anything to do with it, no wonder it's getting so short on me, because they have me on several high blood pressure medicines. I'm on 3 different ones at this point. And you keep reading things about what they do to you, but the alternative is not a good one either. So there you go. Let's see. I don't know.
As soon as I lay down here, they come right back.
Oh, yeah, the other night I called I was trying to throw up and didn't have nothing to throw up.
I've done that too on a few times.
Made my old lungs sore when I done that.
Yeah, well, I got sore across the top of my belly down there, or the top or the center, or whatever you want to call it. And I didn't know where it was the coughing or where it's.
I walked 8,346 steps today. That's almost 4.5 miles.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's just daily doing things around the yard, going to my mom's, you know. Pretty much everyone walks that. When I get 6 or 7 miles, and now that's putting some time in. Last night I only got 4 hours and 40 minutes sleep because I stayed up late and I got up at 6 o'clock to go grocery shopping. Worse.
Yes, sir, buddy. There's a dozen ways it could have been a lot worse, and I'm just so thankful it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm just glad all three involved actually got to get out of it without any, major injuries. I don't figure he had much real major stuff wrong with him. I don't know, because if it'd been real major, they'd rushed him out right quick, so let him sit there.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything real major, because he was up moving around better than we were.
Yeah, I know. I got out of the truck, and I'll be honest, what it didn't knock me out once much, because I barely remember walking back to the back of the truck when we were sitting down that guardrail. But after I was there a few minutes, I was all right, you know.
Yeah, when I got you out of that truck, Bubby, you was the pellest white. To me, you looked green